Hi everyone, this is Julie. Thank you for stopping by to share with me today. I hope you're having a fantabulous day today. And in this video, I'll be taking a brief look at the lily of the valley, which is one of the herbs that Dr. Sebi has spoken about as being very, very effective. Now, the scientific name for the lily of the valley is Convallaria majalis, and it is said to be found in Europe, said to be native to Europe, and is found also in the US, Northern Asia, and also in other places across the world. It flowers mainly from May to June. The medicinal parts of the lily of the valley that is used, basically all the parts of the plants are used, from the flowering tips to the roots, rhizomes, and it's mainly used fresh, in whole or part. Now, the lily of the valley is said to be poisonous. Some of you might have heard. That's what is usually said in mainstream. But the reality is that the lily of the valley has been used for a very long time in natural medicine. And a lot has to do with, they say the dosage and how it is used. So people who know how to use it, have the experience, can use it very effectively to deal with a number of health conditions. Now, Dr. Sebi spoke of using the lily of the valley for a patient suffering from congestive heart failure. And he also had mentioned the value of the herb in addressing breast cancer. And we'll have a listen to that audio now.
Chico, Aruba. Chico was living across the street from where we see this lady named Raquel Emanuel. Raquel Emanuel's brother had leukemia, was killed. His name was Michael Emanuel. He lived in Curacao. She lived in Aruba. So they flew into Aruba to see Raquel. She had cancer, pancreas. She was killed. She said, across the street lives a man that had congestive heart failure. His name is Chico. When Chico walked, if Chico would be sitting down and he get up, to take a step, it would mean a whole lot of effort. They retired him from Lago Oil, who were there from Aruba. In Aruba, there's a Dutch company, an oil company named Lago Oil. So they retired the man. They said, hey, you retired, you can't work, you have congestive heart failure. I had a little bottle, just about the size, with the lily of the valley. I made a tincture out of the lily of the valley, and I just happened to have that in my suitcase. I go over across the street, and his wife said, Chico, this man claimed that he's going to have you walking again and normal. Come see him. But Chico, he gets up, he's a... I said, why does he have to come to me? Why can't I go to him? I went to him, poured the lily of the valley in the water, give it to the drink. The next morning, Chico is like, Chico is running around the block. He's running around the block in 3 days. Then you want to know, how could an herb do all of that? But remember, the herb is natural. It is a diuretic. It's going to dilute the fluid, take it out, remove fluid. But like most diuretics, they remove potassium from the system. Not this one. This one adds potassium to the system. And it has 2 active ingredients. The lily of the valley is a plant that has 2 active ingredients. Most plants only has 1. It's iron chlorine and potassium phosphate, all in one as an active ingredient. The lily of the valley is good not only for congestive heart failure. In fact, Miss Myrtle Ricks, that had cancer of the breast, that's what we gave her. She was killed. CBS came and interviewed that lady, Channel 2 in Los Angeles. Next question.
Now, there are a number of actions of the lily of the valley, and we will note some of them. The lily of the valley increases the force of the heart. It regularizes the beat for distension of the ventricles. It restores an irritable heart. It increases the size and strength of the pulse. It slows down a rapid feeble pulse, restores deep breathing. It is a secondary diuretic which eliminates fluid retained in the tissues, leaving no depletion of potassium. It's also a cardiac stimulant and a mild gastric tonic. And at the bottom of each, I'll put the source of some of the information so you can take a note. Now, this Dr. Shook noted that it's for valvular heart disease, mitral stenosis, lack of cardiac muscular tone, and general debility of the heart action, apoplexy, which dissolves blood clot, dropsy, which drives out water. It's also for poisoned wounds, ulcers, cancer. It's said to soften hard cancers. It's also for purulent, ophthalmia, inflammatory skin disease, and loss of memory. So these are some of the uses that Dr. Shook had mentioned. When we consider that it contains potassium chloride, the great solvent of fibrinous and catarrhal matter, calcium chloride, the great heart remedy, iron chloride, which clears up all kinds of growths, varicose ulcers and veins, tumors, lupoid ulcers, cancers, ulcerated gums, gangrene, and has effectually stopped alarming hemorrhage, etc. Potassium sulphate, the carrier of oxygen and sulfur to the skin and epithelial cells, renewing their vitality. Sodium sulphate, which carries excess water out of the blood and tissues, and chlorophyll, the great stabilizer and healer. So these are some of the reasons why he's noting that the lily of the valley is so good, because some of its constituents as cited is potassium chloride, calcium chloride, iron chloride, potassium phosphate, sodium sulfate, chlorophyll, etc. These are just some of the examples of what is found in the lily of the valley. And I also took some information from Culpepper's work as it pertains to the lily of the valley, and he noted that the distilled water dropped into the eyes help with inflammation there. So that's lily of the valley distilled water. Also, he noted that it also is of service in disorders of the head and nerves, such as epilepsy, vertigo, and convulsions of all kinds, etc. So the key note for the lily of the valley is that it is extremely effective for the heart and all kinds of conditions as it pertains to the health of the heart. But also it is good for a number of other issues in addition to that. And you can check the link below to get a fuller description of the lily of the valley, and also to search the site, and you will see some information as it pertains to formula with the lily of the valley. Lily of the valley in formula by itself, or lily of the valley in combination with other herbs for various conditions. So the links will be below so you can check that. Also, we have to look at precautions and adverse reactions, because it's important that we also point these out. Generally, health risks following the proper administration of designated therapeutic dosages are not recorded. Nausea, vomiting, headaches, stupor, disorder of color perception, and cardiac arrhythmias can occur as side effects, particularly with an overdosage. So it's important that you do follow proper dosage when it comes to the lily of the valley. And so that means, you get information from proper sources. Drug interactions, that's also something to note, because sometimes people could be on various medications and then there could be certain interactions. And so some that are noted are quinidine, digoxin, calcium salts, saluretics, laxatives, and glucocorticoids. And I hope I pronounced those correctly, but so you can check on those if you're using any of those, so you have to be careful. For dosages, sometimes you'll see variations depending on the source of the information for the dose. Bartram, for example, recommends a maximum dose for a day of 150 milligram of the dried leaf 3 times daily. For tea, a suggestion is 1 teaspoon of the shredded leaf to each cup of water, gently simmered for 10 minutes, and the dose would be 1/3 of a cup. For the juice, the fresh leaf passed through a juicer, 3 to 5 drops 3 times daily. And there are also additional information as it pertains to tincture, etc. But like I say, additional information will be down below. So the lily of the valley is really a very powerful herb, and rightly so. Many, people often brand it wrongly because they don't know how to use it, and because some people don't know how to use it, they might not use it in the correct way. And this is why it's important that we rely on information that is there for us from people who have done the work in the past, and continue to do the work as it pertains to herbs and what are the recommended dosages, etc., dealing with various health conditions, and also how we properly combine herbs, because not all herbs should be combined together. And so I hope you found this useful, and don't forget to like, share, comment. There's also an alternate channel. You can check that out also and subscribe there. And be the change you'd like to see in this world, and continue to spread the message of Dr. Sebi. Ta-ta!